Hi there, and this is Dawn. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's lovely to have you join me. And today's video is all about little autumn birds. And this is the prompt for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 6 Field Notes and I think it's our last autumn prompt. Gosh, 3 more after this. Wow, the time has gone so fast. Anyway, while I was thinking about what birds I might do, on my kitchen windowsill I have these 2 little cutie pies, and I thought, oh gosh, they look like autumn birds to me. They're in the right colour, you know, they're a bit quirky, whimsical, and I thought, yep, I'm going to have a go at painting them. And so that's my first little bit. Setting out the page is my normal. I've folded over the edges to go inside, and I think for this page I've decided on a piece of Rachel's fabric. This one, this half of this side, this half of this side, yeah, this one, because autumn colours, and I thought I can do my bits and pieces. So the plan is to use some different wools things to make sort of some twiggy branches for my birds to sit on. But first I'm going to paint the birds separately because I can't paint them on here. We'd never see them, and I just decided for this one that was going to be enough embellishment for the page. I'm not going to add other things, but you know, I often change my mind. So what I did was I sort of worked out on my page how big the birds should kind of be in sort of relation to how they're going to fit. And so I just folded up my paper when I was having a practice to sort of like give myself the idea of, yeah, I think that size bird is about what I need. And my thoughts are around doing 3. And so I just copied these little birds, you know, well, as best as I could. And they'll need a little bit of refining once I get them onto the fabric, because I think this little tail feather needs to go out. And once I've stitched them on to the background, I need to stitch in some little legs. So yeah, so this sort of quirky one here with his tail sticking up, and then I just kind of made up this other one that I thought might go. But if you don't want to draw it, you don't have to. You could trace one from something that you might have, you know, being careful that it's not someone else's artwork, of course, but you know, there's lots of free pictures that you could use. But I thought, I've already had, you know, I've already played with this. I'm not going to redraw it. I thought I'll show you what I'm going to do just for something different, because I've drawn on other pieces and you've seen me do that. But I thought not everybody wants to draw their own, and that's fair enough. I've been drawing for a long time, and so I feel comfortable about doing my own drawings. But, you know, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's perfectly all right. It'd be awful if we're all the same. It'd be a boring world, wouldn't it? So, yeah, so this is my, see, this little birdie's tail goes off in, what, you know, beyond that actual space. So, and this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways that could be an alternative, but for now, this is what I'm going to do. And I just thought I'd show you that if it's something you think you might like to do. And this one. I hope this finds you all well. We are. We've had some beautiful weather, and now today it's been rainy and it's turned cold. So hence the long sleeves. But we had a yeah, it's been in the high 20s and 30s during the week, which is unseasonably warm. We don't normally get those sort of temperatures this early, but yeah, it was all just a trick. So yeah, I just wanted to see the size of them before I decided where they were going to go. I almost feel like he's the lookout one, isn't he? He's got his tail behind him, so harder to see, less to draw. I think, you know, I thought this could be a wing, and then the tail feathers obviously have to come down lower, so that's all right. And maybe these two can sit on some lower branches. Good. All right. So the way that I'm going to do this next part is I've pulled out this piece of linen. I quite like the sort of slubbiness of it. You know, I really liked this texture, and while it's in a pottery glaze, I'm never going to get that texture in paint, but you know, I'm going to have a bit of a go. But I thought if I start with the linen rather than a piece of calico, that actually might help. So my first little job, oh, and I always need to turn that trusty iron on, which I'd forgotten to do, sorry. I'll do that right now because you never know, I might need to get rid of a mark that I don't like. Yeah, I think you can go kind of that way. So I've got my basic outline, and I'm just going to draw it on with the erasable pen, the heat erasable pen. Oops, I'm drawing on the paper instead of the fabric. So he can have some wings. I think they could come down a little bit further, and his tail definitely can. He's probably got roundish feathers on his tail. Sorry, am I in the way? Come back up here. I know here is where, just giving myself a little mark there so that I remember where his tummy comes in and around there-ish, and his wing feathers and his tail feathers can come down there. He's going to have, you know, like two little legs, you know, while he's sitting on the branch. That'll look a bit like that. That's where his beak and his head's going to come in here. His eye sort of around there. Ooh. You know, bigger eyes look a little friendlier. Rounder eyes, you know, elongated eyes look a bit more sort of fierce. I'm just going to do some lines there just to remind me to think about colouring, because I haven't got a third bird colour. I'm just going to be going off these ones, and I thought I'll make another orange one. I love this turquoise colour, and I think it goes just gorgeous with that orangey colour, but I think one outstanding one is probably enough. One that's a bit more of a feature than the others. Good. So did I ask you how you were? I hope I did. I hope I didn't just start talking about myself and not even thinking about you. I'm absolutely over the moon excited because my subscriptions have gone up, and I'm just getting so close to that elusive 1,000. All right, I'm going to, so yeah, so if you're one of my subscribers, oh, thank you for being here. It's lovely to have you. I'm certainly excited about that. All right, and he's got sort of like, I think that's a bit wide there. Let's just bring that in. And, you know, this guy's got this sort of like, you know, that's how his, you know, shading goes. So I want to try and capture a bit of that just to give myself a bit of a heads up as to, and his wing comes around here. So he's got his back wing is in here. That one's coming from there, and then this one's coming up to join it here. I can add that little bit of detail in as I go along, but it's just giving me an indication of where the colour goes, and it might be something that I either use. Actually, his colouring comes. He's got a nice little fat cheek. Be good if I could get that, but I don't think I can. Okay. I think he's coming in close. He's coming in close to what he. I don't want them to look like real birds. You know, that wasn't my intention. I just wanted some quirky little thing that would look all right on an autumn page. So yeah, that's where I'm headed. All right. This little guy was a bit weird to do because I drew him sort of that way. Can you see that? So that his, you know, you just could see a bit of his tail but more of his face. And I had him up high on a, you know, just on a box in front of me so that I could see them a bit closer to eye level, and that's what ended up happening, is that I saw more of his tummy than his tail. All right, I think I've got a vague idea about eye placement, and beak is going to follow. Oh, maybe he doesn't need, maybe he could have that sort of kind of shape. It's sort of like he's asking a question with the way his head's placed. All right, pointy little beak here, and he's just got a bit of darker colouring going on around there. All right, good. I think I'm all right with that. I'm probably not going to get all of them painted, but let's just get one done, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm using one of these brushes that have a water reservoir in it, and I'm using my Pentel, the brush is Pentel, my Derwent Inktense blocks. I'm just going to put a bit of paper towel under here. I haven't got everything covered in plastic today like I sometimes do. All right. I'm going to have a go at this one because he's kind of almost the hardest one for me to do at the minute because, you know, I haven't got, you know, well, no, let's just go with this one because I have got a colour reference. I'll put him up here where I can see him. I can't really see his wing. He has got a wing sort of like in around here somewhere. That bit of colouring, but it's really just colouring. Excuse me. So I thought I'd go for this sort of caramelly colour. I'm probably going to water it down. I've got a very messy palette, but I think the colourings will be all right for me to, if I pick up any with my brush, it's going to be all right, simply because it's, you know, in the same, it's sort of, you know, kind of the same. Let's have a bit of that colour. So you can't see what I'm picking, but you can sort of see the basic idea of it. I'll get some white in here. The white in these blocks tend to make the paint go a bit opaque, and you know, it's all right. The others tend to be a bit more. I'm just scooping up the colour off here because I thought, oh, that'll help. That'll help the story. And in a minute, I'll get the orange when I'm ready to do that. So I'm just going to put some highlights. You know, I don't think that he needs heaps of paint on him. He just needs something. I'm going to add it here for the wing because that'll be, I'm going to add, and I'm just doing this as an under colour because I'm going to put the orange over the top. And then when they go on the page, I'll cut them out and applique them on, just like I would do, you know, other things. He's got a bit of, you know, he's got a bit of chin happening here, bit of cheek happening. All right. And, you know, almost, I think that's as much as I'm going to do. I don't think that it needs much more colouring in than that. I'm going to get some orange now to make this little orange birdie. You can see here what I'm doing, but I want a bit of that brown too, I think, because he's not quite as, you know, he's not quite this bright orange, but, you know, he's a bit of a browny orange. I'll get a bit off there. On the china plates, the paint just dries and you can reactivate it with a bit of water. Yeah, I think that's probably a slightly better colour. So I'm just going to dab it on here and let it do its own thing, really. It probably doesn't need a lot of help from me. On fabric, the paint will spread out if you have it too watery, and then my suggestion is that you go slowly and easily, and not try and press very hard with your brush, because this has got water in it as well, so it's always being activated, really. So if I think it's not quite orange enough, let's go for a little bit of red in there. So I think it's not quite orange enough. I'm going to add just some red in his tail here. A little bit of red on the top of his head. A little bit of red in here. And the next bit is, the darker colour. go easy with that, I would say. It looks quite black on the real bird, but I'm going for a bit of a grey colour. So this colour here, I actually might even try that one and see if that one's slightly greyer. Oh, what happened the other day is I dropped this. I nearly had a heart attack, but yeah, and so some of my blocks broke. Let's have a little bit of white in here and pale it up just a little bit. So yeah, you just need to be careful of it, because once it's there, you'll never get rid of it. And you know, if you make a mistake, do another one. I just think that, you know, this isn't taken very long to do, and if I really made a horrible mess of it, I'd just have a you know, another go. So he's got sort of like feathers here that make his tail up. When the inks dry, they dry paler, and so the colour won't be as bright as this. Or as dark maybe. I'm just gonna leave his beak in there, just because otherwise we will never see it. And I just want to have a bit of dark around here. And then what I'll do is I will iron out the you know, the black fadeaway pen, and see what I'm left with and what I still need to actually do. He can have a little black eye. Try and leave a piece of the colour of the fabric as his highlight. If that doesn't happen, you can often come back and add it once everything's dry, but harder to paint white in over the top of black. I might even do that with a permanent pen. That might actually be an easier job to do than the paint. Okay, I'll go away. I'll keep working on him. Oh no, there is one more thing I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. It's something just slightly different. I'm still here. I'm just going to, you know, I like these speckles. So here goes nothing. I need to make it very watery. Very watery. I don't know if this will work. I haven't tried it before. And give him some speckles. That looked all right. Have a couple of black ones as well. Just made the brush quite watery, and then, can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, just tapping it. I'll mix everything up on the one palette and just make a mess on it, and I'll keep going. All right, I'm going to go. That looks a bit quirky. I'll get cracking and I'll come back to you in very shortly. Okay, I'm back. I've painted my birds. I've just kept them fairly sketchy. They're not, I didn't want them to be too painted. I don't think I'm going to embroider onto them, but I never know till I get to the embroidery part that I go, oh yeah, I'll just have a bit of it. I'll worry about that when I get to it, but my intention at this minute isn't. I haven't ironed out the black fadeaway pen marks yet. I just want to give this a chance to dry without heat setting it yet, because I find that makes it go a bit paler. So yeah, so they're sitting waiting. But I thought for the last part of this video, I would stitch the background and just show you what I thought I would do as far as the twiggy sort of branch that they're going to sit on. And if I could just thread the needle, that'd be great. Just challenged me there for a second. I'm just going to do a running stitch. Trim that off and have another go around the outside edge, because the embroidery for the branches will help to hold. Oh, why can't that thread? Gosh, just wants to be difficult. I thought I picked a needle with a big enough eye for it, and it's just not wanting to do it. There, that'll do. Kind of give myself enough to get all the way around. I'm just using crochet cotton in a sort of neutral colour. And as I said, I'm just going to do a running stitch around the outside edge that'll hold that internal sort of hem. These are the scissors I was looking for, and I only found the big ones. Good. The fabric doesn't quite cover, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think it'll be all right, just because it's not an invisible stitch, just a basic running stitch. It's a little bit harder to go through because I've got the calico backing and the wadding underneath, so the needle is giving me a little bit of resistance. But that's all right. I just wanted to show you what I was going to do, and I thought I'd be a bit quicker at it, but you know, I'm never very quick with stitching, so it is what it is. We decided to shout ourselves an early Christmas present and bought a new barbecue. The other poor one, I don't know, I think we probably had it about 15 years, and we went on that lovely day. We went to have a barbecue, and Paul was like, oh, it's just not going to clean up well. It, you know, things had started to rust out. We knew it was on its last legs, and we hadn't used it. Well, we don't use it over the winter because we barbecue outside. We don't have it undercover. I don't, because our undercover veranda is covered in with sides as well as roof. It could be a bit smoky under there if we did that. It's quite rustic looking, that stitching. I don't know why that looks like it's got a little bump in it there. But I think once the twig goes on, it'll be, you know, it won't be quite so obvious. And I don't mind it looking a bit rustic. Yeah, so Paul's outside building a barbecue. It's always best not to be involved. Too many cooks. We end up disagreeing over who's reading or interpreting the instructions the way they're supposed to be, so I just thought it was easier for me to be in here stitching with you than out there. He'll be ready to sit down after and recover. It's just always, you know. Do you know how it is? One of those funny things that just goes on in a family. Putting together IKEA stuff is a one-man job in this house. And two of us. Paul would like to just drill another hole because he just thinks that, you know, that it can't possibly fit together that way. And he'll get the hammer, and then I just have a heart attack and go, oh my God, you're not supposed to be drilling any more holes, you know, turn it up the other way and find the right hole. And so then somebody usually ends up going, well, you know, I'm not getting involved. So yeah, leave him to it. Leave him to do the barbecue. It's the middle of the afternoon here. I'm going to be stopping videoing soon because I've got a girlfriend coming for tea and for a sleepover, and I want to be done with this. Hopefully we can barbecue. We'll see. Might be cooking it inside in the oven. Many, many, many years ago, we bought a barbecue. Oh, I don't know, 30 years ago, can't remember. Too long ago. One of those kettle ones, you know, they're round and you have your coals and you've got to heat your coals up and let it down. And we'd invited his parents for tea, and we were going to have a roast pork cooked on the new Weber the kettle barbecue. I think we ate at about 9 o'clock that night. Oh God, it was awful. Well, the pork turned out all right, but it was a bit of a drama. So yeah, we'll see if we barbecue tonight. I've got a piece of marinated beef that won't take very long to do, but it is nicer barbecued than it is cooked in the oven. So yes, I want to make some salads. I made some sourdough English muffins this morning because my sourdough starter was frothing and bubbling and needed to be fed. So rather than toss it out, I just look for recipes that I can use the discard in, and I've got this English muffin recipe that turns out delicious. My family all love them. And yeah, so that's done. So busy day already, but enough time to spend doing this with you, because I'm not going to do very much more. I'll leave the making or the embroidering, whatever you want to call it, the twiggy bits, for another video, and attaching the birds. I think they look all right, those three little birds. They look like they're autumn ones. Quite liked the way Rachel did her tree branches with just an outline stitch, and I thought, I'm not going to do that, but because I'm just going to couch some wool down to make the twigs and the branches. But I thought I might just do some leaves, because there are still leaves hanging onto the branches in the autumn. And I thought if I just did them in that outline stitch, just as a suggestion of leaves, rather than have big leaves hanging off the branches. For this page anyway, I've done autumn leaves before. So yeah, that's sort of in the next video. I'll get onto those things, just to spread it out a little bit, because it's too much work to do in one video. So I just thought if I can get this bit done while I have a bit longer chat to you. Oh, that thread, gosh, I only just measured it out long enough. But I've been doing lots of other project work. I've been participating in the Fleur Woods online course of Joyful Stitches, and I'm learning so much about different embroidery stitches and how they could be used rather than just only one. Oh, one of the things that I'm a bit addicted to is fluoro. Flo suggests, oh, is that even going to go there? Oh, just. Well, that was lucky. Anyway, she suggests a touch of fluoro for outlining, and I just love it. I just think it made it really pop. All right, enough, I think, to make a knot, and that's about it. Wow, that was lucky. I thought I'd given myself plenty. All right, I'm just going to tie a knot here. Can I? Oh, I'm being miserable, aren't I? Trying to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stitch it down later like I would do with ribbon embroidery. And that's all right. You don't need to see me fiddling around with that. Or I come back and finish it here and get another bit of thread, which would probably make more sense. Okay, the next part is to have some of this wool that I thought that I would couch down. I've got some nice sort of dyed bits of wool. Just happened to have them hanging around in my stash that I thought I would make some nice knobbly bits. Yeah, this one has probably got some silk in it by the look of it, but I thought it was quite a good colour. So yeah, you know, some vagueness about this, making some branches for those birds to sit on, with some extra twiddly bits, so you know what I'm doing. I thought 3 little branches for those birds to sit on, well, with lots of other bits and pieces attached to it. I'll make some other, you know, little twiggy bits, but yeah, that's where I'm headed with those. I've got, I've got some other coloured bits that might look okay for leaves that it would need couching because this is bobbly and then skinny and bobbly, but it might actually make quite a nice little, just a little leaf. I've got more bits of wool here. I don't know what that one is. That one probably came like that. And I've got this, goodness knows where it came from, but it's probably a silk as well, and it tends to, you know, break in places. So, but that was my thoughts about doing some embroidered leaves with it, but just like in a, you know, almost a skeletonized leaf. Good. All right. Well, I think I'm going to love and leave you there. Happy doing your little autumn birds. I think mine look all right. I think they're going to look quite cute when they're ironed off. They're pretty much dry, but so they shouldn't fade too much, I don't think. But until they're done, I won't know, and whether or not I need to add any more. I thought that I might just, you know, do some little overstitching to attach them when I'm ready to do that. All right, I think that's enough for today, and I will catch you again shortly in another video. I hope you have a lovely weekend. It's Friday afternoon here, and we've got a busy one, going off to a country market tomorrow with my friend and take my mum, and yeah, that should be a nice day too. All right, bye for now.